Welcome, everyone, to the RDH Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Chad, and alongside me is Tanner. Hank's plan to take over the sports world, dude. How's it hanging?
It's good. It's good. Been relaxing. Been enjoying a lot of sports.
I would have to say that this is the best time in sports.
Yeah.
You have the NBA playoffs, the NHL playoffs, the NFL draft, baseball season just started, and you had the Masters for golf in April. So yeah, you're looking at the best
I know.
sports you can possibly have. And in today's podcast, if you're watching on YouTube, you're seeing Tanner's slick jersey he's got on. So obviously he's going to talk about the Champions League. I'm going to hit some NHL playoffs. Then, as we know, Tanner's a basketball guru. He's going to break down some NBA playoffs, some exciting games in the NHL and NBA playoffs, I might add. Then we're going to hit some NFL draft news because, folks, the draft is here. It is this week. It is this Thursday, a couple days away. Super excited for that. NFL news to talk about that just came out about
Yep.
Mr. Aaron Rodgers, and then Jerry Jones had a comment that Tanner and I need to discuss. Tanner, you ready to get in and talk sports?
Heck yeah. Let's start it off with the Champions League, man. Um it's I would say it wasn't predictable or anything like that, but on one side of the bracket, we have Real and they're going to be playing Man City, and I'm not really sure which team I would pick to go to the finals, because Real has done it before, right? They just got back from taking the Champions League trophy, and City is a really, really good team. So it's hard to, think about who you want to win this matchup. I personally would like Real to win the matchup, but I'm a little biased. And on the other side of the bracket, we have the long-awaited Milan derby. I am ready for this matchup. Yeah,
I'm
Inter Milan
stoked.
plays
I'm
AC
stoked.
Milan, and I'll be watching every game of that one of that side of the bracket. And we have a confirmed Italian team in the finals, which I don't know how long it's been since we've had that, but super exciting stuff. What do you think
Yeah,
about all this?
yeah, that's super exciting stuff, man. I can't wait. I can't wait for the second matchup, man. I can't wait. I can't wait for the Italian teams to go out. And I'm so excited that there's going to be an Italian team in the finals in the Champions League. Maybe next year we can get a comparison there. Good lord. But don't even get me started on my own club. And then you have City against Real. Honestly, you would have told me 3 months ago that Real is going to be where they are again in the Champions League. I would have thought you were crazy because Real really didn't look that good, and then they're almost like some hockey teams. It's like they don't look that good in the regular season, and they just turn it on. It's playoff hockey time. You
Yeah, I
know what I
agree.
mean? And
I agree.
that's kind of how it is. They just have a switch, they flip it, and they go playoff football time. Like they just show up. It's like playoff brawn. They're just always there. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? Like
exactly.
yeah,
I mean,
they're just always there with Real. So it's hard to pick against them. I don't want them to win. My homie Felipe, who you know, Tanner, he's a huge Real fan, but I'm sorry. They're there too much, and I'm getting tired of it. I need some other teams there, which we got with the Italy Italian teams. I don't think you can stop City right now. I really
it's
I
hard.
really don't. But Real has some good. They have a good backfield, and they also have a midfield, which is kind of crazy. And their
Hmm.
strikers are not all of their midfield is fast, Real, but they have some with Vinicius Jr. Like that kid is another planet with his speed, and then you've got Holland, and you've got Grealish will show up every now and then too, and you've got so many players that I'm not even naming. But I'm excited. Who do I got in those are both to me toss ups.
Yeah.
I legitimately think it's toss ups. But I think Real or Man U is going to be the winner of the Champions League, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think
Whoever wins
City.
that series.
I think City is probably going to take it. It's hard to pick against Real, like you said, but I think City's probably going to take it. Just they got so much firepower, and I think it's finally time for them to at least have like the best shot that they have at winning this Champions League once and for all. And I think AC Milan is on just another tear in the other side of the bracket, so I'm going to take them. Even though Inter is probably the better choice, but I don't know. I don't know. I like AC Milan this year, so I think those two will go to the finals. I think those two will meet there, and I think City's probably going to win it. But another thing, if you're not aware of, another thing to watch out in the soccer world or the football world, wherever you're from the part of the world, is
Hmm.
Manchester City is playing Manchester United in the FA Cup final, which is also going to be super fun to watch. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Dude, no, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't have thoughts on that. I didn't even know that was happening.
Hmm. Hmm.
I didn't even know that was happening. Clearly, my soccer skills are lacking. Here's the thing for all the fans. PSG's not at least there. I'm right now. I'm just a mad soccer fan, to be honest with you, dude. This is the first year I haven't watched the Champions League. I haven't as when since PSG lost. I really haven't watched a full game after they lost. I'm just an angry fan, and I'm missing a ton of good soccer. But my thing is, I always go back and watch those games.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go back and watch them and see everything. With social media, it makes everything so easy. You just get literally the highlights of every goal. The ESPN app. It's like, yeah, I'll just I'll look at every video of every goal
Yeah.
that happened
Yeah.
or every chance. But I don't know. My thing with soccer right now is I'm just happy where it's at place in the United States. It's the most popular it's ever been in the U.S.
Yeah. Absolutely.
the the United States, like that World Cup's going to be here no matter what. And I know you and I are going to be in the stands because that's going to be a heck of a time.
That'll be fun. That'll be fun. And it's
Yeah,
happening at Jerry World too.
yeah, good old Jerry Jones. We're friends right now, but goodness, that comment. Oh man. Now is that all you got on the soccer?
Yeah, that's pretty much all.
Okay, I'm gonna touch on NHL playoffs here. We're jumping sports. Lightning and the Maple Leafs, man. It's Toronto leads that series 3-1. Austin Matthews has shown up. Mitch Marner has shown up. Austin Matthews got in a fight with Steven Stamkos. For those of you who don't follow hockey, Stamkos is the captain of the Tampa Bay Lightning and not a chucker by any stretch of the means. I don't even think Austin Matthews has gotten into a fight in the NHL, but he got in one. And that's what happens in playoff hockey. You have your captains going down and blocking shots. You have your captains going in there getting in fights. You don't necessarily want your captain getting in fights because then he's being taken off the ice. But hey, I love it. Playoff hockey's a different breed. And the Leafs are winning that series 3-1 right now. Very close overtime game. Series could have gone both ways. But the big players are showing up. Then Rangers and the Devils, that series I thought was over. The last pod I had the Rangers jersey on. I think the Rangers were up 1-0 or 2-0 at that point. Now the series is tied 2-2. Jack Hughes came to play.
Let's go Devils.
Um, dude, that Jack Hughes came to play. I don't know if you saw his press conference or not press conference, but they walk up to his locker and check out that clip if you haven't seen it. It's hilarious. I'm not gonna spoil it, but it's so funny. And he's showing up. And that's the scary part in because you have young players who have not been there before. He's hasn't been there, but he's doing incredible. Jumping to Jets in the Golden Knights. It leads the series 3-1. This series I haven't watched the most. I have seen pretty much every highlight, but I did catch the two games that Jack Eichel pretty much put on his show. Jack Eichel's playing well, and it's awesome to see because he was in Buffalo before this, and he never made the playoffs. This is his first time making the playoffs. So to see him out there enjoying it is really cool. Tanner, I know you've been watching some hockey. Have you watched any of those series? Did you end up watching any of the Maple Leafs or the Lightning games?
I don't think I watched any of those, but I did see there was like a really big comeback in the Maple Leafs and the Lightning series. That was like kind of crazy.
Yeah, the first period was 3-0. Lightning were up. No, I'm thinking of the Edmonton game. I'm thinking of the Edmonton LA game. The Edmonton LA game, it was 3-0. And the first period was 3-0. Second game was 3-3.
Mm.
And then yeah, that was a crazy comeback. Yes, Maple Leafs made a big comeback as well. I don't think it was a 3-goal comeback. It might have been 3 goals. I don't know if they were down 2 or 3. What's weird in hockey is 2 goals is the lead that's the scariest.
Yeah,
Now it's kind of turning into 3 goals. Like these teams score so fast. And Austin Matthews for the Leafs, as you were talking about it, he was a part of that comeback. He scored like 2 goals, I think, in less than a minute and a half.
that's insane.
Yeah, and in hockey, that's I don't know how he does it. Did you catch any of the Rangers and Devils?
No, not a lot of that series. Not a lot of that one.
Yeah, probably not Vegas and the Jets then.
I put it on, but it probably wasn't my main focus. I was probably watching basketball because they like to
Yeah,
do it at the same time.
yeah, they're literally at the exact same time. Well, jump into the other games. We got Boston and Florida. I said that series was going to be over. I think in 4 or 5. Boston can close it out. They're winning 3-1 right now in that series. So I think Boston will close it out pretty soon. Hurricanes and the Islanders. The Hurricanes are beating the Islanders. 3-1 in that series. The Hurricanes have just played better hockey. They've literally looked like the better team, even though you can argue that going into that series, the Islanders team. I'm pretty sure I picked Carolina. And then the Stars and the Wild. I know you've been watching the Stars and the Wild series, Tanner, so I'll let you hit on that one. But that series is 2-2, and those you read about right before the pod. These are the exact same teams with the Stars and the Wild. Like they play the same kind of hockey. They drag you down, but they have a couple players on each team that can get them out of that drag down out of a second's notice and create opportunities and shots from literally nowhere.
Yeah.
And in Dallas you got Robertson, you got Hits, and then you got in Minnesota you got Kapel Kaprizov, who I always talk about. He's one of my favorite players, young player. All these guys are banged up, you can tell with injuries, but they're still doing what they're doing. So it's pretty incredible what they're doing right now at a high level. What do you think about the Stars in the Wild, Tanner?
I think it's just like it's such an interesting atmosphere like when you look at this series because like you said both teams are like kind of like a smash mouth kind of team. They're going to come, they're going to hit you, and they're gonna make it difficult for you. And just the thing that I've seen, just most from like a fan perspective, is freaking Ottinger, man. That guy is otherworldly. I mean, I don't know how many tough saves and tough reads this guy has on the goal line, and he just makes them, And he's got, like you said, he's got Kaprizov, and he's staring him down one on one, and he's just save after save after save, and I
Shutting them down.
shutting him down, and it's impressive to say the least.
Absolutely. I completely agree. And that's the thing about hockey, man. You get a goaltender. You have a good tendy.
Yeah.
It's hard to beat him. In Tampa Bay, that's what Vasilevsky was. You weren't getting as many goals back. He has stats like back to back games. He doesn't lose back to back games. He was the best goaltender in the world for years, and now you've got some others that are competing. We'll see what happens with the Leafs and the Lightning, but like I said, I think the Leafs are going to close that one out earlier. But jumping back to the Stars and the Wild, too. I think I want to say I don't know if I picked the Stars or the
I think you did.
Wild in that one.
I think you picked
Yeah,
the
I think I
Stars.
picked the Stars. I think I went Stars, but I think that one's going to go 7. Like that
Yeah.
that is just such an even series thing. It's going to go. It's 2-2 right now. Then it's going to go 3-2. Then it's go 3-3. Then it's going to go Game 7. Jump into the last series. We're going to talk about Avalanche and the Kraken. It's tied 2-2. Kraken expansion team, first time ever in the playoffs, and I did not expect them to even hang on. I didn't expect that even to be a series going into it. Like I said, it's 2-2. The defenseman for the Avalanche, the best in the world, took a stupid penalty last game, got suspended for a game. So you're going in with no Cale McCarr. I think Seattle wins. I think Seattle does, and I think it puts them up 3-2 with a chance to at the cup champs in the first round. I don't know if that's going to happen because you have a player of Nathan McKinnon that's literally putting the team on his back this series and just playing such good hockey and watching him how fast he moves and he never stops and he's just such a the word I can think of, he's just such a fucker to play against. Like he's
Yeah.
just so good. He moves his feet so fast and he's going to truck you, but he's also going to score and he can deke you. And by the way, he's faster than you. It's like, he's a captain. Like he is just one of my favorite hockey players I've ever watched. Playoffs, watching them in the playoffs, it's like playoff brawn. They go up a level and it's really cool to see the players do that. Um, done with the NHL playoffs. Next pod, we'll see who wins a couple of these series. Hopefully, we have some winners. Go ahead and take them through the NBA playoffs.
So the NBA playoffs, there's been a lot of games, and I don't know what we talked about the last time on this podcast. So I'm just gonna like go
A
through the
ton.
series. Um, I'm just gonna go through the series. So we have the Nuggets. They're beating the Timberwolves 3-1 game lead, and I think the Nuggets are probably gonna take that. I think it's pretty pretty cut and dry. I don't think there's much to say about that one. What do you think?
I think it's over. I think that if Minnesota didn't have Anthony Edwards in that last game
Hmm.
doing what he did, it wasn't. You knew he was going to steal one.
Yeah,
You knew he was going to steal one going into the series. That's his one. I don't know. See them pulling the reverse sweep. I can tell you that. I don't even know if they win another game. I think it's over either this game or next.
I completely agree. I think Nuggets are just too good, man. You know what I mean? They're just too consistent. And if Jamal's playing, Jamal Murray, that is, if he's playing at the level that he can play at, yeah, the arrow, baby. If he plays at
Yeah,
that level, it's over. The series is done. And they got to win one out of the next, what, three? So, come on.
it's
Next,
easy.
we got the
That's easy.
Suns and the Clippers. Um, I don't know about this series. Obviously, I think the Suns are the better team, but it's hard because LA's put up a big fight. You know what I mean? But the stuff about Kawhi, just his injuries and stuff, it's hard to say that LA is gonna again win another game. Maybe they'll take one, but I think the Suns will win it in either five or six.
Completely agree on that one.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's go to the next one. We have let's not switch over to conference yet. Let's talk about the Golden State Warriors and the Sacramento Kings. What are you thinking about this series? It's tied
I
2-2.
think that's the best series. I think
Yeah.
that's the best series so far in the playoffs. I think it's. I've watched all the Lakers. I've watched games. I think that the Kings stole two. Golden State stole two. Back. Like I think
Yeah.
it. I think it's just that simple. I think that's how it is. You go ahead and take it away.
I think the last time we were on this podcast, the Kings were up 2-0, and you were like, if Golden State wins Game 3, they're gonna win Game 4, and they did, and now it's tied. And I think, yeah, this is the only series that is tied 2-2. Every other one is either 4-0 or 3-1. So
It's crazy.
obviously, the best series that we've seen in Sacramento, man. They're just light the beam, man. Come on, I want them to light the beam. They're playing at an
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
unreal level, but Golden State, they're they are those guys. They're gonna come back, and Steph's doing his thing. He's doing his thing. Clay's doing his thing. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So next up,
Percent,
we
dude.
we got the biggest series, at least to you, the Lakers and the Grizzlies. What are your impressions on this one?
Uh, if you're watching, I'm on it's a Lakers hat. I'm not a homer by any stretch of the means. I thought that Lakers shouldn't have won a couple of those games we won. I'm going to be honest. We had runs at the very end of the game. The game one, I think we had like a 12-0 run. This last game, we had a run at the end of the game too. I think we've stolen a couple. And I think that a playoff Braun, he had 20 and 20 last game. That's heard of. I think the
Mhm.
player to do that before him was Shaq, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I saw
Another
that stat.
Laker there. Yeah, another Laker. There we go. But I think that series, I thought going in that the Lakers were a better team than Memphis,
Hmm.
and coming out of watching these games, that's not true. And I hate to say it, but you're seeing the fatigue on Braun. Like I get Braun had 20 and 20. Usually he puts up more than 2-0 in a playoff game. You know what I mean? Usually he puts up more
Yeah,
than 2, and usually his field goal percentage isn't where it's at, but not that same player anymore. He's more of a facilitator on this Lakers team because you have guys like D'Angelo Russell who can come in and pop three threes and bring you back from the dead, literally at the end of that last game. Like
yes.
if he didn't go in and hit those threes, like the Lakers don't win that game.
It was
And that's
awesome.
what I'm saying. And that's what I'm saying. We stole a couple of them, but playoffs, and LeBron is the one putting everybody in those situations, in the first place. So Anthony Davis is playing at a high level, and then you have the inconsistent playing of Ja, and then you have Jaren Jackson, who on Memphis has shown me that if I was playing fantasy basketball, I'd probably draft him. Like that
Yeah.
dude is a clear cut number two on that team. Like Ja's number one. Ja's number one. You're building the team around Ja. Then you have Junior right there. Like that's a solid 1-2. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But I think the Lakers just have too much firepower right now. You have three. It's 3-1, like you said. I think that the Lakers are going to close them out. Maybe Memphis gets one more, but I think they close them out in 2 games. The thing I'll say about the Lakers is earlier leaning on their playoff experience, but I'm not sure how far this team's going to go. The reason I'm saying that is because certain players are already looking tired.
Hmm.
I'm not gonna name names, but some players are already looking tired. But here's the thing: with what you have off the court, LeBron invests so much money. I'm not saying it's LeBron that's looking tired, but I'm saying just like all these players, the state of the art technologies, cryotherapy, like compression, like all the stuff that they have off the court, their bodies back in IVs, like they're going to be ready. And the Lakers have the playoff experience. So would I be surprised if the Lakers to the championship? No, but there's some teams in the West that are going to be hard to beat after this. I think the series is over. I could be wrong. Um, and I have a question I want to ask you.
Yeah.
This whole Brooks drama for Memphis.
Yeah.
I want to hear your take on it because really understand. I don't get played the villain. He did that on purpose, and now doesn't want to talk to the media. But at the same time, like if I was a professional player, I wouldn't want to talk to the media. I'm gonna be honest with you. So
Yeah.
I'm right there with him. I'm not saying he's saying like the media portrayed him as a villain, and I'm like I don't know. You're saying stuff about a guy in LeBron that's number one or number two of all time on everybody's books. Like you gotta show respect. I get you're trying to be that dog. I get you're trying to be the Lance Stevenson. The old bringing it out. But I don't know why you poke the bear. I just don't get it.
It's
What are these guys not learning?
it doesn't make a lot of sense because when you historically look at like that kind of role, a lot of the players who have been in that like trash talking role have been at least better. And this is going to sound bad, but just a more consistent player overall, right? Just in terms of making shots, getting to the line, just creating opportunities for other players. And Dylan Brooks doesn't bring a lot of that. I saw like a stat thing that was like he is in at the bottom in almost every category that you can have in basketball. Um, in the play in terms of like playoff players, and he's talking all this talk, and then he's kind of backtracking, won't talk to the media, and is kind of saying, like you said, the media is painting him to be the villain, although he kind of assigned this role to himself. So I don't really know what's going to go on with Dylan Brooks. I know the organization is not set on him in the upcoming off season. So
I did see that too. Yeah,
yeah,
I did see that too. And mind you, this is a couple of Tanner and I, a bunch of couch warriors talking about NBA playoffs, chips falling off us when we're watching the games. Not no meaning no disrespect at
yeah,
all, but I just I don't understand.
it's
You know what I mean?
weird.
I don't understand. That was a really odd move to me, and just like casual fans seeing it take place. Also, too, I saw a thing that Dylan Brooks said in the regular season. LeBron's, I'll just make him go left on me. Just got 20 and 20.
He the
Yeah,
last
and
shot
he
of the
went.
game, the last shot of this previous game that they played, LeBron, it was on LeBron's left, and he scored. He drove to
I'm
the
just
he drove to
saying.
the basket and he scored. And I think that was the shot that put him in overtime, maybe something like that. But LeBron is showing up. He's 40 years old, people. He's showing up. He doesn't care. He just doesn't care. You know what I mean? The stars are showing out in LA, and I think it's really important for that. Like your earlier point, just to answer that, I don't know how far they're gonna go, but
Yeah.
if LeBron plays well, if LeBron plays like he's playing, and AD plays like he's playing, granted no injuries, I think they can go decently far. You know, I think they have a shot.
Hey, don't forget Reeves. That
That's
that boy
true.
nasty.
That's true. He's got that dog in him.
I think he's averaging over 20 a game, if I'm not mistaken. I know he got like 23 last game. Every time I look, he has 20 plus.
He's playing really well, really well.
Yeah.
But
Kid,
yeah,
kid, kid got himself a contract.
that's enough about that. Let's go on. Let's go on to the East. We have the 76ers, the only completed series actually. They swept Brooklyn Nets, and that wasn't really, yeah, called it. Like it's not that close. Did you have anything on that? Fair enough. The other series we had the Boston Celtics and the Atlanta Hawks. Boston's up 3-1, and that one is not really close in my opinion. Atlanta took a game, but that's because Trey finally showed up, and if he can continue to do that, maybe they can make the reverse sweep. But once again, you have to if you're Boston, you have to win one out of the next three, and that's pretty likely, especially since you're the home team.
easily. And like that's I hate to say it, but called it. Like
Yeah,
that's just I can't. That series wasn't necessarily over before it began, but it's just such a it's so crazy to me because the NBA you have these series that are done so fast, and NHL you do have some that are done fast, but it's just so different.
it's
It's
different.
so different.
I think with the NHL, it's like the teams just feel a lot closer. You know what I mean?
True.
Yeah, and in the NBA, you have like some teams that are just playing out of their minds, and it's just kind of it could just whatever team is better on the day, I think is going to take it. In the
Yep.
NHL, I really have no idea. Is the better team going to win? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. The NBA, you got one guy off the bench that gets 30, and you
Yeah,
probably win that game.
exactly. Moving on to the next series, a series I've been watching pretty closely, Cleveland and the New York Knicks. Uh, I've just been so disappointed in Cleveland for this. They look good, don't get me wrong, but they just don't look good enough. The Knicks just have, I think, just a better roster in general than Cleveland at this point, and it's starting to show. Even though Cleveland's the higher seed, and Cleveland just hasn't been putting it out on the court. And Donovan Mitchell's been playing well. You know, that's not it. Darius Garland's been playing well, but you need more than two players, right? And the Knicks got a bunch.
I didn't think the Knicks were that good.
Yeah,
So I didn't give them enough respect going into this series. Like I, oh, you know what I mean in terms of
yeah.
the future for the Knicks. I think to me it looks the brightest it's looked since I can remember watching the Knicks.
It's
And
mellow. Yeah,
yeah, now given yeah, that's like I've been watching basketball since the early 2000s. I don't think the Knicks have ever been in a position this dominant since I've been watching them. You know, the early Knicks like I said in the previous pod, when the Knicks, the Lakers, the Celtics are on top, maybe not necessarily on top, but when they're in the playoffs, I just think basketball's better.
yeah, yeah. I completely agree. But going on to the last series, and this one's a shocker. This one has been insane. And part of it is due because Giannis hasn't played a lot of the games, but the Heat are up 3-1 on the Bucks. An 8 seed up 3-1 on a 1 seed.
It's Tyler Hero and a broken hand, how we talked about last pod. J- Jimmy Butler is different, dude.
Got the crown, dude.
How are you gonna drop 50 plus in a playoff game against the Bucks, dude? That's impressive, man. That's
It's
impressive. The only thing I have to say about this series is Jimmy Butler, my goodness, I love watching you play basketball. I especially love watching you play basketball in the playoffs because you're on a different level. Playoff Jimmy's there. And then Antetokounmpo's coming back, so good luck.
yeah, and the Heat are in, of course, just an amazing position right now, right? They're up 3-1. If they lose the next two, they still have a shot at getting it, right? They still have a shot at winning this series over a 1 seed. An interesting stat that I saw when I was watching these games was a play-in team, mind you, that's this 7th and 8th seeds, right? They have never won in the first round since like the conception of the play-in. And right now, we have the Heat who are up 3-1 on the Bucks, a play-in team, and the Lakers who are up 3-1 on the Grizzlies, who's a 7 seed against a 2 seed.
That's
So
that's
that's
crazy. Yeah, I hadn't
that's
heard
kind
that
of
stat
nuts.
either.
So it's fun. Like you said though, for this series, Jimmy Butler, he's that guy. He's that guy, pal. And that's pretty much it. He's taking the playoffs like he likes to do.
Yeah, he's taken over and he's Antetokounmpo, hasn't been there.
Yeah.
That's what stars do. And Jimmy Butler's a star. And now the arguably the biggest star in the NBA is coming back. So if there's any series I think that could come from behind, I think it's this one.
Yeah.
But but if Jimmy has another game like that, nobody wins. Nobody beats the Heat if Jimmy has a game like he had last game. So
Yeah. I completely agree. I mean, if the thing that would need to happen is they just got to shut him down, right? And the thing about the Bucks is they haven't been playing bad basketball. You know, they've got really good players, and they've got since Giannis has been out, they've gotten some quality performances, but the Heat have just played really, really well.
Yeah, 100%. That's all we got on basketball, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Jumping to the NFL draft, it's going to be pretty quick. I've been getting some questions about offensive players. And question I'm going to answer, I had a question. How many quarterbacks are going to get drafted in the first round? And I think that's an interesting question. Clearly, this reader has not read my mock draft because he would have seen it. But it's all good, all good. I I think that you've got clearly number one and number two are going to be quarterbacks in the draft. Number one overall pick, Carolina Panthers, either C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young, in my opinion. Since I think they either get C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young, whoever doesn't get taken, in my opinion. What I saw today is I saw a rumor that the Panthers, the pick locked in. Mark may have tweeted at NFL. Yeah, yeah, they traded House to get number one. Of course, they know who they're going to get taken.
Yeah.
Yes, they've known that since before the trade was going to happen. They know their guy. We don't know their guy. Idea of for sure 2, 3, 4 people it could be. Realistically, I think it's going to be one of those two guys. So there's two quarterbacks gone right there. Pick one, pick two. Then I think a quarterback's going to go at 4 to the Colts. And that is either going to be, Will Levis, depending on where you see him on your board. Me, I don't have Will Levis high on my board. I have him I think I have a second round grade on the guy. I don't even think he's a first round. Yeah, he's a second round grade, early too. I I don't think he brings another level to the team, but to me he just looks too much like Johnny Manziel. No disrespect to Johnny, favorite college quarterback of all time, but his game just didn't necessarily translate to the NFL as well. And I think that Will Levis looks just like Johnny. I think that Will Levis looks like too, and I think that style of quarterback working out so far. Now, given he hasn't had a down in the NFL, and I could be completely wrong, and I've been wrong before, so we'll see, right? We'll
Yeah.
see what happens. But that's 3, and then you've got. I think you're going to have another quarterback taken. There's a huge drop off in terms right there. So I only think 4 quarterbacks are going to get taken in the first round, and I think those 4 quarterbacks are going to be Anthony Richardson, the quarterback out of Florida, who we talked about on a previous pod, but he had a better NFL combine than Lamar Jackson did. So just that alone is going to get you picked. Like if you have a better combine than a former first round pick, last pick of the first round, and Baltimore traded back into it. Lamar was in the green room that time. That's like the image that went viral of him like laying on his phone. I think he's talking with his mom, and he's like I'm pretty sure he's one of the last players in the green room that showed up to the draft. And I don't think anybody's going to make that mistake again. And then you got Will Levis, who the upside I could understand why you take him in the first round. For me, I'm not touching him till the second round, but a team's going to reach and absolutely take him in the first. So I only think 4 quarterbacks are going to get taken. The other question about halfbacks and tight ends. How many halfbacks or tight ends are going to get taken in the first round? Draft, I honestly think you are only going to have a single halfback in Bijan Robinson get taken in the first round. And then I think you're going to have Jamar Gibbs that's going to get taken in the second round from Alabama. And then I think you're going to have a run on running backs. I think you're going to have A-Chain from A&M is going to go. Pulling up my notes here. Oh, yeah, the kid out of UCLA, Zach Charbonnet, A-Chain, like I said. Then you got Dwayne McBride, the halfback out of UAB. I think those guys are all going to go in the second round, but I really only think you're going to have one running back go first round with Bijan Robinson. Tanner, think about the 4 quarterbacks and the 1 running back going in the first round. Do you agree?
I think so. I think just if you look at like the history of just like the first round in the NFL draft, a lot of teams, I'm not naming any teams specifically, but a lot of teams like to just sit and pick their guy, you know? Like we saw it last year. Okay, maybe I'll name one. Steelers, like they sat and they picked their guy. They wanted Kenny Pickett and they got Kenny Pickett, right? Was he a first round talent? Maybe, maybe not. Depends on how you look at it, right? At the time. But I think 4 is Probably going to happen. I don't think five. I don't think five though, because like you said, you have
No,
the three. I think three are locked in, and it's just a question of whether or not that last one's going to get picked.
I definitely agree. What do you think about running backs? Do you think one is going to get taken, or do you think Jamar Gibbs or another running back slips into the first round?
I think it's really possible. I mean, if you have these teams at the back half of of the NFL of the first round, right? I think it's really possible just because you've seen it before. You've seen it happen before. Bijan 100% is going to be taken. He's too good not to, and it's probably going to be pretty early. But yeah, I think if a team gets desperate enough or gets wiped out enough, they're going to take it, right? Especially in those like 26 to 31, 32 range.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think this draft too is a very defensive heavy draft, and that's
Yeah.
why I think that you're going to see a lot of these guys slip into the second round. And tight ends. I think that tight ends. There's only going to be a couple first round, maybe. For me, I have the tight ends rated really, really high on my board. I have Dalton Kincaid, the tight end out of Utah, and Michael Mayer, the tight end out of Notre Dame. I got a mid first round grade on him. That's where I had him go in my mock draft. Do I think that they'll be taking that early? Probably not now. Just kind of reading and different, NFL analysts and everything. I don't know if they'll still be taking that early, but I don't think that and two tight ends get taken the first round. I think that'd be crazy. I think that max two tight ends get taken the first round. Well, I don't know because if you have both of those guys get taken early, if those tight ends get taken early, Dallas as a team really likes to pick around early recently. Tyler Smith was a 2 or 3 on most experts' boards, the offensive lineman that Dallas picked last year in the first round. Tell me that the tight end from Georgia slips in Washington, he'll be sitting there most likely. I don't see him getting taken before those other two tight ends I mentioned in Meyer and Kincaid, but he's one of those players that is if his ceiling is so high. In
Yeah.
a team like Dallas, I could see a team like Dallas sneak in at the end and just take him because they know he's not going to be there in the second round. So I think I got two tight ends going in the first round, and I think those are kind of really, really my predictions there. And I appreciate the questions, folks. Now we're gonna jump on some NFL news. The first thing we're gonna talk about is Jerry Jones made a comment about drafting Ezekiel Elliott a little bit too early.
Yeah.
Draft. I'm just gonna read this stat to you. All I did was just type on Google Ezekiel Elliott stats. So Ezekiel Elliott had 7 seasons with the Cowboys. Everybody, he had 1,800 carries, 1,881 carries for 8,262 yards, 305 catches for 2,336 yards, and he scored 80 touchdown. Also, was a 3-time Pro Bowler. Would have won Rookie of the Year if Dak didn't. By the way,
Yeah.
I think that in terms of production, it's hard to argue that you would have taken anybody else at that pick, right? Like, wouldn't you think so, Tanner?
I think, you know, like retrospect is a very influential tool, I guess you could call it. But like looking back at it, Zeke is old, just by the nature of his position, and the people who was drafted around him was Jalen Ramsey and Joey Bosa, right?
Was right before Ramsey was right after. I wanted Ramsey. I'll say it now.
So I mean, those two players are still playing at a high level in the league, and Ramsey got paid. Joey's probably gonna get paid, but I don't
No, he's
think.
been paid.
Oh, has he been paid? But that
Yeah.
was fine. But Zeke, I would say, has more, let's say, accolades than those two players. Except for, I guess Ramsey has a Super Bowl, but
No big deal.
no big deal, which is probably the biggest one. But in terms of just like being a piece around your team, I think Zeke has been the most influential, right? Because when he was drafted and when he was a rookie into his sophomore and probably even junior seasons, he carried a lot of the workload because, well, I mean, Dak just wasn't there yet. You know what I mean? and the offense just revolved around Zeke. And I would say Zeke probably about 70% of that rookie season, how well they did, the Cowboys that is because of Zeke. So,
I would have to agree.
mhm.
I would have to agree. I think that Cowboys leaned on one game, and if you're telling me that anybody else in that position would have done as good or better, and I get it. You know what I mean? I understand there's running backs you find in the later rounds, Alvin Kamara. You know what I mean? Like you find these guys, Damian Pierce out of Houston, like you find in the later rounds, and I understand that Tony Pollard with the Cowboys.
Of
You know what I mean?
course,
Like,
of course.
but the thing is like Dallas signed Zeke to another year contract. I hate to say it. I hate to say, if you're a running back, I don't know that second contract you have to cash in. Like you absolutely have to cash in because I don't know if you're getting a third. Right? You have Adrian Peterson who was around forever, right? Like back in the day, you had these guys that were around way longer, but now it's such a 1-2 system, and there's so many good running backs coming out of college that it's hard to justify taking a running back. That's why it's very select few can get taken that high, but to find better tape coming out of college than
Yeah,
Zeke.
yeah,
The only other player that I think had better tape in the more recent years was Saquon coming out of Penn State. He looked like a mix between Barry Sanders and Mike Allstott. You know what I mean? It's like absolutely
exactly.
ridiculous with what Saquon had coming out of college. But the other thing is it's kind of crazy to think about. But when Dallas drafted him, I think the league was a more run heavy league. You've
100%.
seen just in these 5-6 years that Zeke was in Dallas, or 7 seasons. I just read it. Dallas, the game has changed, not completely, but the game is to feature the quarterbacks more and has the ball in their hands every single play. And a lot of these quarterbacks are so smart now that they're reading these coverages before the play even comes out. So, you have a halfback a run that's supposed to go, but it's like, no, I'm going to audible out and throw, just like, Aaron Rodgers kills teams on, right?
Yep.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I think it's, the league is just a little bit more pass heavy than I would say run heavy, but it's hard. It's hard to say that like that comment to me as a Cowboys fan just made absolutely no sense. I don't really understand why it was said. I listened to the conference too. It kind of came out of nowhere, but it's one of those things where Jerry Jones, as Cowboy fans know, he doesn't necessarily have, not necessarily have. He does have the say to do whatever he wants. He's the guy in sports that can do it wherever he wants in terms of his organization. But Stephen Jones is a guy that drafts. And recently, within a couple of recent years, I know you remember this, Tanner, when Jerry Jones was really wanting to draft Johnny Manziel,
Oh gosh.
but instead snagged Zach Martin.
Yeah.
So thank goodness there. Once again, no disrespect to Johnny, but Dak Prescott is a quarterback that I'm very happy we signed a second contract to, and Dak is one of the quarterbacks that we got to be behind, right, for the next couple of years because
Of course.
he's at the helm of the Cowboys. But you're taking a key part away with Zeke, and the blocking, like we said, in the previous pod, his blocking is just unbelievable, and you don't have a lot of running backs that have that because Tony Pollard doesn't now. He doesn't have the blocking in him, so you now have to have another player that's going to have to block for Dak. So you're going to have to take a offensive playmaker off of the field and put potentially a tight end or another running back in, or keep that fullback. You know what I mean? Not a lot of teams even use a fullback anymore, which is crazy to think about. Um, Doing that way, but the other NFL news we wanted to chat about is the Aaron Rodgers trade finally happened. But here's the fun part: we're gonna predict the Jets' schedule. We're gonna predict if the Jets are gonna make the playoffs or not, how they're gonna do in their division. We're gonna do that here in a sec. But the trade finally happened, Tanner.
Woohoo.
It finally happened. Yeah, we knew it was gonna happen, but it finally happened. So got it on Twitter from Tom Pelissero. The Green Bay Packers received number 13, number 42, number 207, and a 2024 conditional second round pick. The New York Jets received number 15, number 170, and Aaron Rodgers. I think that realistically, I think that's a pretty even trade. I think that, the Packers have had a guy in Jordan Love
Yeah.
that's been
Yeah.
sitting back there for a long time. He's no Aaron Rodgers, but I think the Aaron Rodgers saga was clearly over in Green Bay. Don't really understand it is the Jets. I didn't even think he was really a fit in their scheme. But Jets are doing exactly what the Ravens did, and they first scheme Lamar wants to run, they're going to run. So
Yeah.
Aaron's the guy. This is going to be his last, kick at the can. I think he's got really, really, really good young back in Brees Hall, and then he's got a really, really good receiver in. Oh, I always get them mixed up. It's Garrett Wilson. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. It's not Chris Olave. Chris Olave is with the Saints. Both Ohio State. Both play the exact same incredible route runners. Um, but you got Garrett Wilson there too. Like that's a really good team to go to. Offensive line, they got solid offensive line, like really, really solid offensive line. Um, yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be an easy transition for him. What do you think, Tanner?
I think it's I mean it's just been it's everyone's been talking about it, and it's obvious that it was going to happen, right? So I think Aaron Rodgers is just kind of pulling a Brett Favre right now, and he's just going to whatever team is going to take him. Is that the Jets? Whatever, sure, who cares? But I think the interesting thing is like they essentially like they swapped like first round picks because it was like a 13 for or a 15 for a 13, right? And then they got a second right out of it, the 42 I think it was, which fun fact was from Cleveland in the trade for Elijah Moore. So that's actually Cleveland's second round pick technically. But and then there's a conditional that'll turn potentially into a first, right? If Rodgers plays more than 65% of his snaps, which I think he will. Rodgers isn't known to miss games, right? So all in all, I think it's pretty good on both sides, right? The Packers got a decent amount of draft capital, and I mean, kind of so did the Jets. They got Aaron Rodgers and whatever, like a late round pick out of it. I'm
Yeah.
happy with the trade. I think it's fine. I just I just don't know. Aaron Rodgers could suck next year. You never know. Probably not, but he could pull a Russ and just like not do anything well. I mean,
Yeah,
what is Zach Wilson gonna do? Is the real question. You know what I mean?
Aaron's not too worried about that. And I don't think any Jets fans are too worried about that. When Zach Wilson got drafted, I said it was a bust. Sorry, I know he's still got more years, but
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna ever be a starter in the league. I think backup is his ceiling. That's what I had him as my draft profile on him. So Aaron Rodgers is coming in there. The Jets are saying we messed up on that first round pick. Hey, the fan base, I like that move. I'm sitting there going, okay, yeah, hell yeah, you did mess up. Let's bring in Aaron. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
absolutely down.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers come in and just how much better he's going to make everybody on that team. Everybody on that Jets is going to be better on the offensive side, and arguably he's going to a better situation than the Packers. I think
I think so.
he has better wide receivers. I don't think you can say he has better yet. Now, given I was going to win Rookie of the Year, like he was going to until he got hurt. With Green Bay Packers, you had Aaron Rodgers or Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon as the two running back. That's a hard
It's pretty good.
one two combo to beat.
It's pretty good.
I think he needed to change the scene.
Yeah.
I'm glad to not see Aaron Rodgers in a Packers jersey. That dude was the nemesis of the Cowboys in the playoffs. Beat Dallas so many times at home. I can't even tell you how many games of those I saw. Um, so let's talk about their schedule, Tanner.
All
About
right.
the Jets schedule.
I have it pulled up, so let's look at it.
Let's go game. Let's go. I'll keep track of my record. You keep track of your record, and we'll see where they end up at the end.
Oh my. I didn't know that this was happening.
I know me neither. I just came up with it on the spot. Let's do
No,
it.
I mean the Jets, because the way that the NFL is structured, right? So an AFC team is going to be playing in NFC division every single year, right? Take a
You don't play
wild
the damn Cowboys.
take a wild guess at who that division is.
That's the NFC East,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it's they're playing the NFC East. So
Oh, sick. All right. Well, Aaron Rodgers regular season. Keep him coming. We'll love that.
so I'll just name um all the teams that they're going to play. Obviously, they're going to play their division 6 times, right? Because they'll play each opponent twice. So they're going to be playing the Bills twice, the Dolphins twice, and the Patriots twice. So it's most logical to start there. What do you think is there going to be like their in division record so far?
So that's 6. They play 6 division games.
Hmm.
Have them beating the Patriots twice.
Really? Okay.
Have them splitting with Buffalo 1-1. So that's 3-1. And who else were they? I just completely forgot the other team.
Miami.
Miami. Ooh. Miami's offense, I say they split one with Miami. So I think they go 4-2.
4-2 in their division. Okay. I think it's really hard. It's really hard. I'm going to say they lose.
You don't know what they look like.
You have no idea.
No
Like I
idea.
said,
They
Aaron
could be
Rodgers could
so
suck.
good.
They could be so
Yeah.
good. They could be amazing, or they could just be like mediocre. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna say they split with Buffalo. I think that's probably the safest bet. I'm gonna say that they split with Miami,
Okay.
so they're at 2-2 right now, and then they're gonna beat the Patriots twice because the Patriots are not that
Same.
good. So is that the same
So
thing?
4-2.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
so
so
4-2 in their
4-2.
division.
So we each got 4-2 in the division. So who are the other opponents?
So they play at home, and I guess that's important. So we'll go with the home teams. They play the Texans at home, the Chiefs at
That's
home, the
the
Chargers at
Texans.
home, the
That's a
Falcons at
dub.
home, the Eagles at home, and the Commanders at home. So we'll go one by one. So what do you think with the Texans?
That's an easy win. So we're both. So I'm sitting at 5-2 right now
Okay, you're
with
at
the
five
record for the
two. I'm
season.
gonna say they win that as well, just because it's the Texans, right? Um, so we're both at 5-2. The Chiefs, I'm gonna say they lose.
I agree on that one. I think they lose to the Chiefs.
So they're 5-3. The Chargers,
Ooh, that's hard. That's a hard pick to make because the Chargers are either hitting on all cylinders or they're not.
I know.
And I have no idea what the Jets. You know what? I'm gonna go Chargers to get the dub.
Okay, so you're at what are you
Five
at?
and four.
5-4. Okay, so I am. See, I was gonna pick this too.
So 5-4, both of us.
5-4, both of us. Atlanta,
That's an easy dub. That's 6-4.
6-4. I agree. Philadelphia, at home, not their home. New York home.
I got Philly going in there, and I don't know.
It's hard.
Philly going in there. I got Philly going in there and winning that game. So I have the Jets at 6-5.
6-5. Same. Commanders.
Oh, that's a cakewalk. I think Commanders are going to be the worst teams in football this year. Sorry, Washington fans.
7-5.
Yep.
Okay, so now we have the away teams, and the away teams are the Raiders, the Browns, the Broncos, the Giants, and the Cowboys. So let's start with the Raiders.
I got a lot of friends that are Raiders fans. Sorry, guys. Jets are going to take the Raiders out on that.
So you're at 8-5, right?
Correct.
8-5. I'm gonna go with. It's so hard. It's so difficult.
It is tough.
Yeah, but they got Jimmy G. Yeah, give me the Jets. 8-5. All right, the Browns.
Same record.
What about the
I know,
Browns?
I know, I know. We'll pick this one differently, so our record's going to change. I have the Jets beating the Browns.
So they're 9-5 for you.
I have the Jets at 9-5.
Browns don't look good, man.
But you got to pick your city.
Do I?
You
like
don't
being,
have to.
it's like being from Houston and being like, oh, they're winning the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? No, I'm gonna
That's funny.
just for the meme. I guess I'll pick Cleveland.
There you go. There you go. So you've
So they're
got
7-6. Yours are 8-5.
9-5.
You're 9-5. Wait, so mine is. Oh, I had them beating the Raiders, so they're gonna be 8-6.
6 for you, 9-5 for me.
Yeah. So the Broncos.
The Broncos. That's a tough one because I think that this year, I do think that Russ has a bounce back year. I do think he has a bounce back year. Do I think it's to the extent of Russ? No. but they traded a first round pick to bring in a coach. So Russ kind of has to hit. I'm gonna go with losing the Broncos.
Jets losing to the Broncos. So
The Jets losing to the Broncos.
So
they're
gonna
9-6 for me.
9-6 for you. I'm gonna have the Jets beating the Broncos because
Okay.
I think it's Aaron Rodgers. I think he's a veteran quarterback. I think he's gonna get it done. I don't know when in the season this is happening, by the way, but so I think we're at the same now. Actually, I think we're both 9-6.
We're both at 9-6.
So the next is the Giants.
Yep. The Giants. That's an easy. 9-6. I think that's easily 10-6 there.
Oh, you haven't beaten? Okay. I'm gonna go. It's hard. I don't think it's hard, but it's hard. You know what I mean? The Giants could take a game off of them.
Looks like we're having some technical difficulties here. Oh, back.
I think it's just you, but that's all right.
Nice.
But I'm gonna have the Giants losing. So 10-6. Now
10-6.
the fateful game. Do the Cowboys beat Aaron Rodgers when he's on a different team?
Yes.
You think so?
Yes.
Yes. So they are
Yes.
10-7 for you.
10-7. 10-7. Dallas is going to beat the Jets. Yes.
I think we lost to the Jets the last time we played them, actually.
I think we did too, and they were way worse. But I gotta be confident. Gotta be confident going into the year because we paid Dak 40 plus million.
That's true.
2 more years. So the situation could look pretty bad in a couple years.
That's true. You know what? I'll have the Cowboys beating the Jets too. So we're both at 10-7. Wow. Man, well.
Didn't even mean to make that happen. But yeah, 10-7, the Jets record. So that is clearly a playoff.
Yeah.
At least a wild card in the AFC, like easily.
And that's with them losing to the Chargers, right? That's with them splitting a game with Buffalo. I was splitting. Oh yeah, you split it too. Splitting a game with Miami and beating the Patriots twice in their own division, and that's pretty good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's absolutely not bad at all. And like it's just hard because we don't know what the Jets are going to do. That's the biggest thing. We have no idea what the Jets are going to do.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens, but I do think Aaron Rodgers gets him to the playoffs. That's why you traded for him. That's why you're bringing him to town. So I think the Jets get back to the playoffs. I think that if they don't, that trade is nothing. It's worth nothing. So they're bringing him, like I said, to get one last kick at the can to go try to get it. But you got a really tough division with really good teams in there. Aside from New England, who has been on top for the last 20 plus years at this point with Tom over there, was over there. You know what I mean? But are gonna be there. I think that that division's so good that you could see all three of those teams getting into the playoffs realistically. Like I really do see it being like an NFC East last year. I know I'm not giving the Giants a whole lot of respect, but I don't know. I could see the NFC East too doing it again this year. But we'll get into that in a future episode. That wraps up another episode. Thanks everyone for the listen, and catch y'all next week.
Yeah.